Hi, folks. I'm going to talk about a trafficking case I had here in Alabama not long ago, and I call it the case of sitting while black. And as you guessed, my client was a black guy, so he's sitting in his car doing nothing in particular, but the police were watching him and they saw him sitting there, and of course he's doing the act of sitting while black, which in their heads they said, well, he was sitting there as if waiting for a package of drugs to be delivered. Now, I don't know how they got that from him just sitting there, but that's what they said. So nobody ever comes. Again, why was he sitting there? Any number of reasons, but to the cops, he was waiting for a drug package. He drives away. So the cops, based on what they believe in their heads is going on in his head, they follow him. Not surprisingly, they stop him. Now, I wanted to know, well, why'd you stop him? So I did what lawyers do. I filed a request for the tapes of the police cam and the audio and all of that stuff so that I could see, what's the reason for stopping him? And I never did get an answer, and that will play into this later on. But they stop him, and they go over, and they say, well, we smell weed, which is, by the way, something cops say very frequently, and I believe it's not always true. But at any rate, they said, oh, we smell weed, and we're going to search your car because we smell weed, which, if they do smell weed under Alabama law, they can search a car. So they search the car. They don't find a thing. They find nothing. The only thing in the car is that he has a sealed box in the trunk. But there's no drugs. So based on that lack of evidence, the police decide, we need to take you in for questioning because, well, you were sitting there while black and we stopped you and, you didn't have anything, but you must have been doing something. They take him into the police station. Another cop drives his car. They take him, they grill him, and he says nothing. They want to get into that package, and so they call a warrant magistrate, and they tell him something, and to this day, I don't know what they told him, but the warrant magistrate gave them permission to go in and open the box. They opened the box. Now, the box did have a lot of money, like 90 grand in cash. Now, having 90 grand in cash doesn't mean you're a drug dealer. Maybe he cashed out his account. Maybe he has just sold a car or cars or property or whatever. So based on that, and I think because he's black too, but based on that, they call the warrant magistrate back and they say, this guy had 90 grand. And again, they must have told him something, which again was an issue later on in the case. I was like, what did you tell them? What did you tell him? Because I need to see that. But they got a search warrant for my client's home. They went to his home and they found a quantity of marijuana. Enough marijuana for it to be a drug trafficking case. He's charged with trafficking. The rest of the story is, well, the court date rolls around and I had asked the prosecutor for the evidence that I needed to determine whether or not. So what I was trying to determine is, were the police legally justified in their actions? Because if they weren't legally justified, I could move to keep out the evidence, in this case the drugs, that they had obtained if it was illegally obtained. But to make that argument, I needed more information, and that's what I asked for. Anyway, the case rolls around for the first date, and unfortunately, my client missed court. That meant there was an arrest warrant because he missed court, and the judge was going to put him in jail. He would probably spend maybe 3, 6, 8 months in jail waiting for the case because he'd now be in jail for violating his bond. And unfortunately for my client, the other thing he did was he got arrested for 3 new charges. So now, instead of facing one drug trafficking charge where he'd be looking at going to prison for anywhere from 10 years to the rest of his life, he was facing that and 3 other charges. We go to court and, sometimes we have to decide, how do we want to approach a particular prosecutor? And I was thinking, well, do I want to go in there scorched earth or do I want to play it nice? And I decided it was better to play nice, which frankly is usually a better approach if you're not in trial, is to try to do things peaceably. I said to the prosecutor, I said, look, I asked for this stuff over 8 months ago, and the prosecutor was nice. The prosecutor said, I know, I'm ticked at those cops. I asked for it because I don't know if you have a meritorious argument or not without seeing it. I haven't seen it either. I asked them and they're playing games with me. And I said, well, how about some sort of blue light Kmart one-day special for this guy then? I said, look, I want to keep him out of prison. Obviously, if he's convicted here, he's going to prison for, 10 to life. What can we do? And the prosecutor said, hey, what? If he pleads to a lesser charge today, I'll get rid of the 3 new charges and I'll give him pure probation, which is how the case was resolved. We can't always predict how a case is going to resolve. I think that as a lawyer, if I can do it in a way that is easier and safer for my client, that's what I want to do. We don't always get to do that. Sometimes we do have to go to trial. I don't know would I have won or lost that argument. I felt like I had a good argument. Apparently the prosecutor thought so too. I hope you're not in any kind of legal jam here in Alabama, but if you are and you'd like our help here at Siegel and Siegel, just give us a call. The phone number should be down here below somewhere. And if you like seeing these videos, hit the like button, and if you want to see more, hit the subscribe. I hope you found this to be educational and informative and all of that stuff. Thank you for watching.